Welcome back. In the previous class, we talked about building more effective communication and why that's an essential piece in creating the life we want. When we know how to talk about what's going on inside of us, our kids will also learn how to talk about what's going on inside of them. And when we can get that two-way open dialogue flowing, we're producing connection. Now, connection is how we relate to one another, how we interact that brings us closer together. We are relational beings meant to live life together. We grow in connection to our world. We develop based on the attachments we have with our caregivers. We learn by the associations we make with the things going on around us. Our blueprints are the very definition of who we are in relation to the people in our lives, our society, our lifestyle, and our beliefs. So connection is how we deepen the bonds we have with our children that will end up empowering them to grow exponentially. And this begins before they're even born. And we discussed the bonding cycle before. Your child has a need, they express the need, and you meet the need. Not only does this give them the framework for regulation, it also develops attachment. So what is attachment? Attachment is the bond between you and your child that sets the foundation for how they relate to others and themselves for the rest of their lives. And that's kind of a big deal. When a child develops a secure attachment, it means, that they feel secure. They believe their needs will be met. They are free to explore and learn, be who they are, and go where they want to go. They're happy and playful and less inhibited. And this happens over time with a caregiver who consistently meets their needs and who is responsive and understanding. It allows them to grow from the infant who relies on that caregiver for everything to the toddler who begins to explore his world, knowing there's always a safe place to come back to the kid who's doing more and more on his own, proud of his accomplishments, to full-on independence that comes back around to inner dependence, where they consciously learn the real power of working and living and being in connection with others. This is what we're aiming for. This is how we raise people who believe in themselves, who are resilient and trustworthy and kind, who are thoughtful and patient and can overcome any challenge. This is how we instill our values in the lives of our children. And one easy way to determine whether or not a young child has a secure attachment is how they respond when their parent or caregiver, their attachment figure, leaves and returns. So a child with a secure attachment might be upset or sad when his caregiver leaves, and then happy or excited when they come back. And he knows that he can go to that parent or caregiver for comfort whenever he needs it. But what about when it doesn't work like that? What if it goes wrong? What if they don't develop a secure attachment? Well, let's look at the other types of attachment and how to recognize them. So non-secure attachment is divided into 3 categories: avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized. So first, avoidant attachment comes from a disengaged caregiver. They're not really very present with their child. And that child comes to believe that his needs probably won't be met. And he himself can become distant and not super interested in connecting or growing, not wanting to rely on anyone else, trying not to get too attached. In the situation of his attachment figure leaving and returning, he will probably show little or no emotion or acknowledgement about separating or reuniting with that caregiver. And he's less likely to seek them out when he needs comfort or anything else. Then there's ambivalent attachment, which involves a caregiver who is inconsistent, sometimes attentive, sometimes neglectful. And this child might know his needs can be met, but can't rely on his needs being met. He is anxious and insecure and could become very clingy to that caregiver, not sure of whether he'll get what he needs. He's not safe to explore or trust and may heavily count on the responses of others to know where he stands. When his caregiver leaves, he will likely be very distressed and then not even comforted by their return. And then there's disorganized attachment. And that develops with a caregiver who is scary or is scared and models that. They might be abusive or neglectful, punishing or passive, and the child is left very confused. He doesn't know how to get needs met or if he can get them met. Everything is kind of chaotic, and he can become depressed, explosive, or craving security while at the same time unable to trust anyone or anything. This type of attachment makes up a majority of those who seek or end up in therapy. And he may not have signs of attachment in any direction with his caregiver. He could have a lot of apprehension, where a part of him wants to go to his parent or caregiver for comfort, but another part of him doesn't feel safe to. There's a lot of confusion there. Of course, we and our children can have some combination of these different attachments as well. We don't all fit in a specific box. These categories are just helpful for identifying what's going on. Did you recognize yourself or your children in any of these descriptions? That's good. Whatever attachment you have, you're likely to pass on to your children, so it's helpful to know what that is. And why does it matter? Because the qualities we develop from our attachment play into everything we do. If I'm avoidant, it's going to be hard for me to have a deep relationship with someone else. I might have trouble with vulnerability and not really be able to connect with my spouse or my kids. Whereas if I have a secure attachment, I can have true intimacy. I can be confident in myself and create that inner dependence where I work together with the people around me to get our needs met and find mutual trust and companionship. If you can help your child to develop a secure attachment, that'll give them a really solid foundation to work off of as they grow. It'll help them to build fulfilling relationships and pursue their dreams, to see good in themselves and everyone around them. It will create an empowering blueprint that will serve them well, directing them toward the things that are most important to them and driving them to succeed. But what if they don't have a secure attachment right now? What if you don't have a secure attachment? Well, attachment is not a life sentence. It can be changed. Just as it was formed in relationship with your parent or caregiver, it is healed and changed in connection with others too. And the cool thing is, as adults, sometimes that relationship can be the one we have with ourselves. Because now, even when we don't always feel like it, we are totally capable of meeting our own needs. We can give ourselves what we never got. we can tell ourselves the things we always wanted to hear. In a sense, you can start over from the beginning with yourself. Go through that bonding cycle, feel a need, express that need, and meet the need. Connect with the child inside of you and be the adult that you needed. Be the caregiver you never had. You have the power to do that for yourself. And sometimes we still need help though. It may feel impossible to connect with yourself or to give yourself what you really need. And in that case, you might want to seek out getting that from someone else. Rebuilding security with someone you can trust. That could be your partner if they're secure and they're up for the task. Or a therapist, coach, or mentor. Someone who can be there consistently to complete that cycle for you. There's no one size fits all. We each have different needs. And changing your attachment is no exception to that. It is okay to ask for what you need. And it is okay to find a way to get that need met. Help yourself so you can really parent your kids from your values instead of insecurities. So how do you develop a secure attachment in your children? How can you build that solid foundation of safety and trust? Well, be that safe and secure base for them. Look for the needs that are being communicated by their behavior and meet those needs. Create an environment where they are free to learn, explore, and express. Celebrate with them. Mourn with them. Come alongside them and empower them as they grow. Help them with their problems. You can still direct them to better behavior, but you can do that by being with them, not by doing something to them. Now, a worry that might pop up here is the pressure to be consistently connected, to always be making sure to meet needs and be responsive and attuned to what's going on, to be perfect and have it all together. But that's not what's necessary here. You're not always going to complete that bonding cycle. You won't get the needs met every single time. Consistent doesn't have to mean always without exception. Security isn't built on perfection. It's built on connection. So connect. Be imperfect together. Be messy together. And when disconnection happens, just reconnect. It's inevitable that connection will be broken. Maybe even several times a day. We physically leave each other, maybe for work or school or to run errands. Or we argue or fight and emotionally disconnect. There is a lot of reasons why we might separate. Whatever it is, there's a rupture there. But that's only a problem if it stays that way. So instead of leaving it there, we reconnect. Building security through connection looks like a whole lot of disconnection and reconnection, rupture and repair, going away and coming back, taking apart and putting back together. That's why it's been said that the most important moments with your children are the minutes after they wake up and when you come home from work or they get back from school. Taking that time to restore your relationship and bring things back to equilibrium is how you grow safety. And safety is the support your children need to flourish. And it's what you need as well. You know that feeling of relief when you come back to your house and can just sort of settle in again after a long day? Or maybe it's the feeling of going back to your childhood home or talking with your best friend. Wherever that security is for you. The safe space you can come back to where everything just feels right in the world and you're okay. Can you bring up that feeling right now? Close your eyes. And if you're not able to do that, pause this recording and carve out a few minutes for yourself to do this and then come back. All right, so with your eyes closed, imagine that place or that relationship where you just feel completely safe. If not in your past or your present, perhaps the future. Somewhere you are totally free to be yourself, wherever you're at. You're relaxed and relieved, totally comfortable. Who you are is okay. What you are feeling is okay. You don't have to be anything for anyone else. You don't have to do anything. Just be in this moment, soaking up that assurance that all is well. You're exactly where you need to be, doing precisely what you need to do. For some, you might feel peace, a freedom that washes over you as you rest. For others, release, as you are finally safe to let out those thoughts and feelings you've been holding on to. Whatever comes up for you, let it be. Settle into that feeling. Be there. Knowing that you are completely protected. There is no judgment here, no danger, no risk. Just you, confident in who you are, connected with yourself. Now imagine with me, what if you could take this feeling of security with you wherever you go? What if you felt this safe, regardless of who you were with or what you were doing? What if you could always feel this confidence and freedom to be who you are, to feel what you feel, to think what you think, to act how you act? Imagine if you could have this feeling with you, this safety, all the time. What would be possible for you? What could you do? Who could you be? What would be possible in your life? In your relationship with your partner, your kids, your friends, coworkers, or relatives? With this level of feeling okay in yourself, what could you achieve? That is what secure attachment and connection does for you. It allows you to get what you need, to express what needs to be expressed, to feel what needs to be felt, to say what needs to be said, to do what needs to be done, without losing you, your safety, your freedom, your confidence, your values, the things that are important to you, who you are. What can you do right now to bring this security with you to wherever you're going after this? Is there something you can tell yourself? An empowering word, phrase, or belief? Something to remind you that you are okay. An object of comfort or a physical grasping onto this feeling. Now open your eyes. What came up for you in that? Take a minute to write down your experience. This feeling, this security, this level of connection is what you need to really live a life you love. And this is what your kids need as well. So how can you give them this level of safety? How can you pass on this feeling to them? When you are secure in yourself, your kids will see that. They will feel it. And then it will grow within them too. So connect with yourself and connect with your kids. Be present with yourself and be present with your kids. Get on your level and get on their level. Be where you are and be with them. Play, enjoy their company. Do what you love to do. And join with your children in what they love too. Be you. Connect with your children. Meet your needs. Meet their needs. And have fun together, creating this life you love to live. We're going to continue this discussion in the next class. I'll see you then.